Good morning. This is Glasgow Rangers Nation. I'm Owen James, and this is all your latest Rangers news, guys. We're going to talk some more from the. I was looking back at the game from the fallout from the game on Tuesday, looking ahead obviously to Middlesbrough on Saturday, and back in Athens next week in that crucial Champions League second leg against Panathinaikos. Look, I think, we all deal with this game. It was a good result for Rangers. Performance was okay. First half was average. Second half was better. I think obviously we were helped by the fact that they had a man sent off, and rightly so. He was obviously booked twice, once for simulation and then once for the foul on Finlay Curtis. There was a lot of positives to come out of that game, and we'll talk over those positives, like Joe Rothwell, like Finlay Curtis, like Max Aarons, for example. But look, I think one of the things that we do need to talk about is Rangers do need to move away from something they've been really bad at getting rid of over time, which is sentimentality. There's been far too much sentimentality in this team, in this club. And I hope the new owners will kind of push that across to Russell Martin and make sure that Russell Martin kind of moves away from this hanging on to players and hanging on to letting players play just because of what they've done in the past. Looking at now, here and now, is what is important for this club. And it seems with some of our players that you cannot question them. That if you dare to criticise some of our players, it is tantamount to questioning the existence of God, within church circles, or questioning the democratic right of the Prime Minister to rule in this country, or insulting a religion. It's almost on that level with some of the players. For example, if you raise the question of dropping James Tavernier, you get the whole Tav fanboys, which, do you know what? I've been a football fan all my life. Rangers fan for nearly 40 years as well. And I've got mates who are fans of Leicester, of Coventry, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, Manchester City, Milan, just generally loads of different clubs. And I've got to say, I don't know any other figure that is held in such cult-like status as James Tavernier is here by Rangers fans, by some Rangers fans, to the point of obsession, to the point of him being held up like some sort of idol, like some sort of, Virgin Mary, like some sort of Jesus Christ superstar. It's quite frightening, and I think it needs to be addressed, and people don't address it because they're scared of it. Because the moment you address and the moment you question his right to play or his ability to play in the team, you're told you're a Tim, you're told you're a Tool, you're a Fud, you're told that you're going to support Celtic, you're not a Rangers fan, because you dare to question the holy deity that is James Tavernier. Look, let's get one thing straight. And we're going to obviously, I do want to talk obviously the positives of Rothwell. I do want to talk the positives obviously of Curtis, etc., and look at the forward line options for the game next week. But I just want to address this issue. James Tavernier was not the worst, but one of the worst players on that pitch on Tuesday night. I think Kieran Dowell wins the award for the worst player, but he was one of the worst players on that pitch on Tuesday night. At times he looked lost. At times he looked like he didn't actually know where he was meant to be playing. He lost his man. He fell asleep. Something that he's done for the last 3 seasons now on a regular basis. And he was just very poor defensively. Very, very poor defensively. Max Aarons played left back, looked out of position, struggled, didn't play particularly great because he's not a left back. He's a right-footed player trying to play left back. If you put into those Tav fanboys that say, you've got to drop Aarons because he was shit, you can't drop Tav, he was better than Aarons. Well, okay, let's put Tav at left back and see how he does, shall we? Because I'm telling you something now, he'd be even worse there. Aarons, the moment he was moved to right back, even for that few seconds, he was fantastic. He won the ball back, Cruyff turns out, he starts an attack off, he goes forward. James Tavernier couldn't do that. James Tavernier is not half the player that Max Aarons is. Max Aarons as a right back is 100 times better than James Tavernier. James Tavernier needs to be dropped. He has to be dropped. If Russell Martin wants to keep his job, wants to have domestic success, wants to win trophies, James Tavernier must be dropped and only play in the games against the Diddy teams in Scotland. He cannot be playing against Celtic or Hearts or Aberdeen or in Europe or in any of those big games. He just is not good enough. He is 3 seasons past his sell-by date. And the argument you get back with, you want to drop someone who single-handedly took us to Europa League final. Well, one, that was 3-4 seasons ago, okay? So that was ages ago. Okay, he's aged since then. His legs have gone. He's slowed down. You can't hark back to that. Or by that argument, then, let's bring back John Gregg because he won us the Cup Winners' Cup back in 1972. Should we do that? Well, no, obviously not, because he's too old now. Same as Tav, so you can't use that argument. Secondly, that's quite insulting to the likes of John Lundstrom, to Ryan Kent, to Alan McGregor, who all played a fundamental role in getting us to the final that year. So it was, let's just dispel that rumour. James Tavernier did not single-handedly get us to the Europa League final. Okay, Ryan Kent was phenomenal during that run. Glenn Kamara played exceptionally well in all those games. John Lundstrom scores that goal against Leipzig and was excellent during that Europa League run. Alan McGregor pulls off countless save after countless save in that Europa League run, all of which, if he hadn't done, we'd have lost games. So let's dispel that rumour straight away. James Tavernier is not up to playing at right back in a big game in Europe anymore. His legs are gone. He hasn't got the pace. He hasn't got the ability to do so. Okay? And people go, well, he brings the ball out. He's an attacking option. That's not his job. He's there to defend the fucking goal. That's what he's there for. Okay? He's not in as a attacker. Yes? Okay, look, perhaps push him further up. Use him as a substitute. Bring him on later in games to carry the ball forward. Play him at right midfield. Play him as a right wing back. Play him as a right winger. But don't play him at right back because he's not up to the job anymore. And I don't care if he's team captain. You can make anybody captain on the field for a game. You could make Suter captain, Raskan captain, Barron captain, whoever you want captain. Okay, and let's face facts. You know, with the odd exception, you know, perhaps you could cite Lee Wallace, Lee McCullough, and names that have been thrown at me, all of which I fundamentally disagree with. He's one of the worst captains in this club's history. And that old clip that's always brought up time and time again, the Connor Goldson one. This club won't appreciate James Tavernier until James Tavernier's gone. Mate, he's going to say that. He's his best mate. What else is he going to say? You're not going to say about your best mate, oh, he's fucking useless. No, he shouldn't be played. So at the end of the day, look, let's get one thing straight. Tav was a great servant for this club, was a good player in the past. He's not anymore. He's not there. And the Tav fanboys will hate this. They'll be screaming. They'll be absolutely just drooling. They'll be insulting. They'll be abusing. I'll get you a Tim. You're an imposter. Blah, blah, blah. All because I've dared to insult the cult of James Tavernier. And I'll be absolutely honest with you. These Tav fanboys, the ones that come onto this channel and insult us over the fact that we call James Tavernier out for his shit performances, they're the ones who would rather finish second to Celtic every season as long as their precious James Tavernier plays in every single game. They're the ones who would be happy changing the name of this club to Tav FC rather than Rangers FC, because to them, he is bigger than this club. Okay, those people are they need to give their head a wobble. They need to realise that this man is 2 to 3 seasons past his sell-by date. And if he is not dropped, it fundamentally weakens our team and our defence. And what is ironic is we have a top-class right-back in Max Aarons, and we're crowbarring in James Tavernier, putting him in left-back so we can crowbar Captain Useless, Captain Disappointed, Captain Serial Killer of Managers in at right-back. And people come at me with this argument, oh, countless managers have picked him. They know more than you. Countless managers that have picked him have then been sacked. A little bit of a link there, guys. Use your brains before you come at me with that stupid argument. So, look, it's got to be an end to sentimentality. He has got to go. I'm sorry. The man has got to go. Right, let's move along a little bit. So, look, I think, we look at some of the positives from Tuesday night. One of the massive positives for me for Tuesday night was Joe Rothwell. I thought Joe Rothwell played in that 6 role. I thought he was absolutely excellent in that 6 role. I thought he freed Nicholas Raskan up to have more of an influence on the game. He allowed Raskan to get forward. Raskan had shots. He was able to pass the ball more effectively forward. He was worried less about his defensive duties. For me, looking at that last night, looking at Tuesday night, Raskan was able to play more of his natural game because of the presence of Rothwell. Rothwell was that calming influence at the base of the midfield. He was the player we've kind of been missing for a long time. Like I said, he wins the ball, he recycles the ball, he restarts the attack, he cleans up messes, he plays the ball out. He's almost like a little metronome controlling the pace of the game. And one of the things that Russell Martin's teams do, which is what Russell Martin demands, is his teams control possession. And they move forward, they attack with aggression and speed. And that was something Rothwell enabled the team to do in the level of his performance. Rothwell, in the NFL, in American football, the quarterback is the essential position. He is the most important player on the field. He controls the whole offense and makes a team attack, makes a team tick. Rothwell was almost the quarterback for Rangers, sitting at the base of that midfield, controlling the game, playing the ball out, starting attacks, pacing the attack, moving the ball forward. And for too long now, I don't include Rascal in this. You know, the likes of, for instance, John Lundstrom, who was very, very good at this, or good and bad at this, if you get what I mean. You look at our six, he always would back pass to Goldson, side pass to Tav, back pass to Suter, side pass to Ridvan, to Barisic, whoever played. And it wouldn't get attacks moving with any momentum. It would allow the opposition to go back, to sit in, to go for the low block, to make it hard for us to actually attack a team. Whereas Joe Rothwell, his first indication is get the ball, head up, where do I play it forward? Who's moving forward? Where does the ball need to go forward? Right wing, move forward. Centre midfield, move forward. It's always forward, 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 forward. He was the most forward-thinking player on the field on Tuesday night. He was absolutely excellent. I think he is going to be absolutely key this season to the style that Russell Martin wants to play. And the way he played on Tuesday night was absolutely indicative of the style that Russell Martin wants to bring to the team. And for me, one of the best things that I saw on Tuesday night, second half, was the beginning of passages of play, of a style, of a shape, of a movement, of a way of playing football, something that's been missing since Steven Gerrard and Gio van Bronckhorst's days. You know, the last few managers, Clement and Beale and Ferguson, have had no style, no shape, no patterns of play. It's been kind of, the plan has been, right, get it to one of our better players, hope they do something with the ball, hope they score a goal. You know, that's what the style has been. And for too long now, you know, we've been so focused on individual moments rather than a team effort and a team collective attacking. And I think Rothwell and Raskan as well on Tuesday night were absolutely essential to that forward motion. Absolutely fantastic, and really enjoyed watching Joe Rothwell. And it just backs up what Leeds fans said last season. You know, Leeds fans raved about Joe Rothwell. You know, they raved about him. They said, you know, you're getting yourself one hell of a player there. And we have got ourselves one hell of a player in Joe Rothwell. And this is a guy who not only brings that ability, he brings that experience, that leadership. This is a guy who's won the English Championship twice. He's been played in teams that win, teams with winning mentalities. And I think for too long now within our team, we've had players with losing mentalities, you know, who've constantly been used to finishing second to Celtic, always being second fiddle to the other half of the city. And I think Rothwell brings a positive mentality and a winning mentality to this team, and that's fantastic to see. Fantastic to see. I think, you know, the other two big positives for me. Well, Gassama, obviously massive positive. He looks a hell of a player, but I did touch on him more yesterday. Jack Butland, absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. 4 fantastic saves. And I've seen some absolutely outrageous takes on social media, but by the same people that love James Tavernier. You know, well, that's his job to save goals. Well, yes, it is his job to save goals, but some of the saves he pulled off were absolute top-class saves. Give the man some credit for what he did. I think there was the one in the first half where the ball's pulled back across the goal. The Panathinaikos player's got virtually the whole goal to go out. He hits it hard. Jack Butland throws himself across his goal. Big paw, pushes it out. Brilliant save. Give the man some credit. Now, look, Butland last season was garbage. He was absolutely appalling. We know that. We get that, okay? He made so many errors, so many mistakes, all stemming, I think, from the end of the previous season, the cup final, the Adamida goal in the cup final. But, you know, I think Butland, under the new manager, seems to have kind of got a rebirth, a renewal of confidence. I think confidence was a big thing last season. Butland was massively, had no confidence. And for goalkeepers to have no confidence, it leads to mistakes. And mistakes, obviously, with a goalkeeper will lead to goals. Mistakes anywhere else on the field can be masked by another player doing something amazing. So, for me, Butland looked back to his best. And I think, you know, if Russell Martin can get Butland back to the goalkeeper we saw in his first season at Ibrox, we don't even need to look at goalkeepers, because this is a top class goalkeeper. This is the guy who was pushing for the England squad at the end of that season. This was a guy who, you know, at times kept us in games with some of his phenomenal saves. And I think, you know, like I said, if Martin's got him back to anywhere near that first season, there's a lot of people going to have to eat lots and lots of humble pie this season when it comes to Super Jack Butland in goal. Guys, give me your thoughts on Super Jack and what you thought of him Tuesday night. I thought he was absolutely superb. Right, the other guy I want to touch on is this young man here, Finlay Curtis. It seems we've finally got a manager who will give youth its chance, will give youth its ability to go out there and impress. Yes, Curtis struggled in the first half. Well, People said, well, that's why you don't play kids in Champions League ties. Well, okay, I get that, but he's 18 years old and he's playing in a Champions League tie. Do you not think that's a bit overwhelming to some degree? It's going to take a little bit of settling into, a little bit of getting used to for an 18-year-old kid to play in a Champions League tie. Think back to when you were 18. If someone had put you in a high-pressure situation, how you would have performed. And then kind of deal with that in your head a little bit. And second half, I thought he was excellent. He got the ball, he ran at players, he attacked players, he went round players, he got the goal. And I think, for me, Curtis, was superb second half. And I think Finlay Curtis needs to continue to have opportunities. And this is the player we all thought we were getting. We've all been calling out for years now, for seasons, for young players from the academy, the likes of Finlay Curtis, the likes of Paul Ncio, Bailey Rice, even Cole McKinnon when he was at the club, to be given an opportunity to play, to give an opportunity to start and actually get game minutes in the first team, to see what we've got. And I think, as I said to you, and I've said this, go back and check out the videos, loads. A lot of these kids will actually put in more effort, more heart, more desire, and be a better player than some of those signings because of the fact that they are Rangers kids. They've come through the system. They've been Rangers players since they were 7, 8 years old. They love this club, and it's their everything. Finlay Curtis is a Rangers fan. He's been here since he was a kid. He loves this club. And, you saw that passion and that intensity. And as I've said on multiple occasions, there's something a little bit more special about seeing a kid from the academy come through and impress and play well and be a goal scorer and be the impressive player on the field over even a £10 million signing, because that guy is a Rangers man. He's a Rangers kid. And I thought Finlay was excellent. And I think Finlay does need more opportunities. And I really hope that Russell Martin continues with this blooding of youth, giving youngsters their head, giving youngsters their opportunity to play. Something that's been lacking for years at Rangers now. Something that badly needs addressing, especially obviously if we're going to get the trading model going and we're going to have an academy where we can hang on to some of these players, because we've lost some amazing players over the years from our academy, directly from our academy, even in recent times. To clubs south of the border, because I think a lot of the kids look at our academy and they can look at our team and they say, well, you don't get a chance at Rangers, you don't get an opportunity to play at Rangers. Whereas if I go down south, a lot of the clubs, the Newcastles of this world, the Manchester Cities of this world, the Liverpools of this world, play their academy kids, give their academy kids games. Phil Foden, Manchester City, Rico Lewis, Manchester City, all had opportunities. I think O'Reilly, the kid who's been having game time as well for Man City. Curtis Jones, Trent Alexander-Arnold, players like that. Jayden Danns at Liverpool, all had opportunities to play. All kids, all had opportunities to come through and actually play first team football for their team. So this is something we do need to continue to do. And I hope Russell Martin continues to do that and continues to give the opportunities to those young players. Guys, let me know what you think of the stories we've covered in this morning's video. Obviously, we look towards Middlesbrough as we move into towards the weekend. Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. If you enjoyed the content, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm getting ready for lots of dislikes on this video from all the Tav fanboys who, like I said, you can't question the cult of Tav, and it is almost cult-like. It's quite scary, really. It's quite scary. And I think if you are one of those people in the cult of Tav who cannot have anything bad said about him, you really need to get yourself some urgent mental help. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.